What's up, everyone? Welcome to Wrestling is Fiction, the ultimate WWE fan fiction podcast. I'm your host, Zach Hannigan, and with me, as always, is my tag team partner, Darkstar Shady. On this show, we don't just talk about WWE, we create it. Every week, we dive into the latest WWE news and then take it to the next level with our own original wrestling stories and matches. From shocking betrayals to dream showdowns, we write the kind of epic moments that wrestling fans live for. So if you're ready for some over-the-top wrestling action with a twist of fiction, you've come to the right place. Step inside the squared circle and let's get into it.
What's up, everyone? Before we get into today's episode, it's time to go through a few of our sponsors. First off, you can head to darkstarshady.com/wrestlingisfiction to find links to everywhere you can listen to us. From there, you can head to our sponsors page where you'll find a few different links. First off, you'll find the official sponsor of Wrestling is Fiction, Gengar's TCG shop on TikTok. He sells Pokemon cards through his TikTok shop, and he also does live rip-and ships where you can have him open cards live on a stream for his audience and mail you the cards you pull afterwards. I've also partnered with a company called Dubby. They make gaming energy drinks. If you go to w.gg and use code DARKSTAR10, you'll get 10% off your next order. I recommend the Galaxy Grenade flavor, which is watermelon, guava, and lime. I bought one of their shaker bottles and multiple tubs of their energy drink powders, and I take a drink to work with me almost every day, and it gives me the jitterless energy I need to get through the day. Alright, let's get into today's episode. Alright, now that we've got our intro and sponsors out of the way, welcome back. And I think we're going to start off a little different than we did last week. Rather than going straight into our ranking, we're going to start off with some questions for each other. And Zach, I texted you a question last night. I'm hoping you had some time to really think about your question there. And that's really just, what do you want to see from the Wyatt Six longer term than just this Chad Gable storyline? Like, what do you foresee them doing next?
So, immediately after Uncle Howdy's debut in the match, I kind of started thinking about that. I doubt the rivalry with American Made is quite over. I think they're going to continue that. But in terms of where they go, I don't know if there's room on Raw right now in the World Heavyweight Championship picture, but I think I would eventually like to see Uncle Howdy kind of go for that. Not necessarily that he has to win, but I think it would be an interesting character for Gunther to have to face. We've never seen Gunther really shaken by fear, and the Wyatt Six seem to be able to do that to most superstars, so that'd be interesting. Tag titles, I don't know that I love a Judgment Day Wyatt Six thing right now. I'm not sure what the Judgment Day is going to do with the tag titles, but I don't think the Wyatt Six are the answer to take them. And then lastly, if we're doing faction feuds, why not a feud with Final Testament? Finally do something with those guys. It would give them some heat being involved with the Wyatt Six. Make them true heels, because it just seems like Karrion Kross and AOP are having a hard time getting anywhere. But yeah.
That's fair. I think them and Final Testament would be a really cool feud down the road. I think that they could do a tag team title run somewhere in there, but definitely not with Judgment Day. We'd have to have some kind of storyline in between and keep the momentum with the Wyatt Six. I don't know. For some reason, my mind did not jump to having Uncle Howdy in the World Heavyweight Championship picture at all, though. One thing I think would be cool is that if they could jump brands, or if after the draft, having Uncle Howdy and Cody Rhodes do something would be cool, since one of the storylines that we were supposed to get was going to be a Cody and Bray Wyatt feud. At least that was heavily rumored around SummerSlam of last year, that they wanted to build up to that. So I think trying to continue that on and having him in that picture would be pretty cool as well. The only person I don't know what they do anything with is Nikki Cross. I don't know if they put her in a women's championship picture. I don't know if they just have her continue to be kind of there and creepy.
I think for now, creepy is the best character for her. It seems that they're going to eventually involve her with the Ivy Nile joining of American Made. You can see an 8-person tag match involving her, or Nikki Cross, that is. Uh, but to your Cody Rhodes point, I didn't think about that. I think that would be really cool, kind of a redemption story for the Wyatts. Um, give Cody someone outside of the bloodline feud or a friend to actually rival. And I think the Wyatt Six really should be cross brand, kind of their act and things like that. I don't necessarily know that WWE likes to do that, but it would be a cool, month or two long rivalry with Cody.
Yeah, and give them that supernatural, we could appear anywhere, anytime kind of feel as well, rather than just being like kind of stuck on the one brand.
I'm still not convinced they're done with Jey Uso or either. He was in too many occasions where they showed up, so
Yeah, I'm surprised they haven't gone back to that at all, or at least even just shown them in the same screen again. Um, they have to either have something in the back of their minds they want to come back to later, or something.
So jumping into the recap a little bit, I know last week you were a little upset with the treatment of Jey Uso, but he goes and he wins his first triple threat match to qualify for that Fatal Four. Will he win that? I don't know, but at least we saw him in ring again.
Yeah, he did get a match, and then I was scrolling through TikTok yesterday, and a video popped up, and it was just a recap of Raw in general. But then the only comment on that video was, "I can't wait for Jey to win this tournament just to lose the title match." And I just replied, and I was like, "This is the only thing I've been thinking about, is the fact that Jey Uso is gonna get another shot at something just to lose because he can't be allowed to win."
I don't think that he can't be allowed to win in this occasion. It's that Braun Breaker seems like he's going to have a pretty dominant run. Unless they want to take the title off him quick and kind of make him earn it again.
See, I'm torn on that because Braun Breaker seems like he could be a very dominant, long reigning champion. But at the same time, he's so young, he's got plenty of time to win that title back multiple times as well. Whereas Jey has been one of the top favorites in the company for quite a long time with no payoff yet.
That's exactly it. I can see Braun eventually getting a run at Gunther if he does drop the title. But yeah, he's got plenty of time, and I think he'll win multiple championships before his career's over. He's already a fan favorite. He cuts great promos, great in the ring. He has it all. I think he probably is next in line within the next few years to hold a major title. Those triple threat matches, though, I know Kofi lost in the Jey Uso match, but it would have been interesting to see if he or Xavier Woods won either of their matches to kind of continue what seems to be like an eventual New Day breakup.
Yeah, I was half waiting for Jey to actually lose in that first round just to build up something with the New Day.
Yeah, it would have made more sense probably for Kofi to win, to have Xavier even more bitter towards him, but I don't know. I don't see how they could have had Jey Uso lose in that round.
No, and that kind of goes back to the same issue we had with the King of the Ring tournament, is that they're putting people in these that you know either should win but won't be allowed to win something, or they should just keep away from that tournament and give them something else to do, because you know Jey is just going to take another loss to Braun Breaker most likely. And at what point does he have so many losses that it's hurting his character and hurting his status as one of the top superstars at the moment?
Well, I mean, I look at it this way. Triple H seems to prefer the slow burn, where it took 2 years for Cody to finally get his title. It took LA Knight forever, despite his runs at the WWE Championship and the US title. And yeah, I hope it comes for Jey Uso, but going back to these triple threat matches, I thought it was interesting that Pete Dunne was the winner of the other one. Like I said, I thought it was a good spot for Xavier Woods to win. Kind of build this, I don't really need Kofi, I'm finding out. Or, The Miz finally gets back on track, but he's not at that point in his career, I don't think. But Pete Dunne seems to be getting a push with the Sheamus rivalry. He's doing a lot on NXT. I guess they're trying to do something with him, but I don't think anybody foresees him winning this Fatal 4 match, regardless of who the next two guys are that get in there.
Yeah, I'm a little surprised he won his match just because he has been taking so many losses going into this. And I did kind of think that The Miz was going to win that one. Not necessarily that he'd win the tournament, but I didn't expect him to drop first round when he's kind of going for his title almost.
Yeah, I had The Miz in that one. Honestly, with the three names in that match, I didn't have a favorite who I wanted to win. I like all those guys, but I think Pete Dunne puts on good matches, specifically when he's in bigger matches like Fatal 4-Way with his high-flying ability and such. Speaking of high-flying ability, the Bloodline Street Profits match on SmackDown. I mean, what a match.
Yeah, that was a really great match, and it started off with that little bit of interesting storyline of Solo taking away the tag title from Jacob Fatu.
Yeah, what is that? You can just give your title to whoever's in your faction now? I've never...
And I know that Jacob was like yelling how much he loved Solo and he's supposed to be happy to be his like enforcer, but his face when he was first told to give over his title to him, he did not look happy.
Not a promotion. I think it's all put on. I still, in the back of my mind, think Jacob Fatu is turning on Solo at some point, but we'll see.
Yeah, and this was a very nice way to give a tag title to Tonga Loa without him having to actually wrestle for it.
Yeah, I mean, he was supposed to be in that match. I will say he was improved, I think, since last we saw him in this match. But I really think the Street Profits carried most of it.
Yeah.
Montez Ford just every time he flies over the ring post, it's just like insane leaping ability. And I really thought him and Dawkins had it for a second. It was a good match. We'll see. I would have been upset if I was a fan at that show, as Roman Reigns has been there like 3 weeks in a row, and you finally picked the one. He's not there.
Yeah, right. And Solo had to really rub it in multiple times that he wasn't there.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, that was a great match. I do think the Street Profits are a tag team that can take those titles from them. I just don't know when the right time for them to pull that trigger is.
I have a beef. Going into women's tag team competition, I do not like the direction that they're doing with Pure Fusion Collective right now. They brought them in with this dominant beatdown of Damage Control. They seem to be a powerful force. They were winning their matches, and now all of a sudden it's just like they don't win anything. And it's annoying. I feel like this is a lot of times what happens to newer people. Lyra Valkyria is a good instance. The tag team she partnered with, whose names are escaping me.
I know who you're talking about. Wow.
Yeah. But, they come in, they win the women's tag titles, and Kaden Carter and Katana Chance, that's who I'm thinking of. So people like those three, they push at first, get them big wins, and then they kind of take a step back. For no reason at all, it seems to me. I mean, I guess Pure Fusion wasn't getting the pop maybe that was necessary, but they were still getting boos and stuff, and Lyra had huge wins. It's just that I hope this is not what they're doing to Shayna and Zoe again, because I think they would be a dominant tag team if they gave them a chance at it. Um, anyway, that's my beef. Your thoughts on Pure Fusion Collective?
I mean, aside from the fact that I hate their name as a group, like, they're never going to get the pop if they don't continue to push them, continue to have them actually give the crowd a reason to be behind them or against them or care at all. Like, I think it would be a really cool group, and I think that they have a lot of potential, but yeah, the immediate 180 from them coming out and dominating to just losing immediately, like, make them look a little stronger.
Yeah, and this may be a controversial statement here. I think it's even harder as a woman coming in to win over the audience. So specifically, you're already at that disadvantage, and to not continue to get pushed, it's hard to make up that ground. I mean, Dakota Kai has gone online and kind of complained about it. Unfortunately, she hasn't been able to stay healthy to do anything about it, but Zoe and Shayna seem to be there every week. I'm just hoping they get their push is all.
Yeah, and I don't necessarily think that that's a bad way to say it. I think that the general wrestling crowd does need a little more help getting behind some of the women still. They've obviously upped their talent, and they are doing a lot better than they used to, but I don't know that a lot of wrestling fans have really cared to catch on to that.
Yeah, I mean, obviously Becky Lynch caught lightning in a bottle, Bianca Belair there for a while. But if you're not them, it is very hard.
Yeah, and I don't know why there is still this, like, general thought among a lot of wrestling fans that the women's matches aren't worth tuning into. When I've talked before about how when they have the women's and the men's matches the same night, usually the women end up outperforming them. The Royal Rumble, the Elimination Chamber, like, they put on great matches.
Yeah, I can't tell you how many comments I see on WWE Instagram posts, specifically Money in the Bank, how the women put on a better match, but there's always someone in there, no, they didn't, it was botch fest, and they're slower, and this and that. It's like, yeah, okay, they're a little bit slower. They're not all 6'2" and 220, so yeah, they're going to be a little slower and less impact, but
Damage Control does a pretty good job getting the crowd behind them one way or another, but that's because they have been on television every week and they have been getting the constant pushes. They have been dominant.
Io Sky, a former women's champion, Bailey really helped that group out a lot. She's another one with a reputation with the crowd.
Yeah.
And speaking of, I don't know what we're doing with Bailey. We don't have to get into that, but
yeah, and then even with Kairi Sane, she's been in Japan making a bigger name. She was an NXT champion.
Japanese background helps them a lot too. Similarly to the Lucha Libre for the men, I think helps them more. You kind of know what style of wrestler you're getting, and they're going to put on an entertaining match.
Yeah. I think that for a Pure Fusion Collective to succeed, they just need to give them some wins, give them another title shot, give them something to legitimize them.
And I mentioned, go ahead.
I was going to say, and Zelina Vega being the one to come out and help Damage Control just didn't fit in my mind.
I don't know. Mentioning the LWO, did you go ahead and buy yourself another cake?
I did not. I thought about it as soon as it happened. I do have cake in my fridge for my birthday, though, so that'll have to do.
Yeah. For you new, Mr. Steven here buys a cake every time Dom Mysterio beats his deadbeat dad, so we're up to 2 cakes now.
Yeah, I'm going to have to, once I'm out of the cake in my fridge, I'll have to buy a specific one for that win.
I didn't like how long Rhea and Damian took to be a part of that match. If you're going to get to Judgment Day, why would you not come out when the numbers are there for you? they keep trying to push this Terror Twins like these two can take them on alone. We've seen many people try to do that with Judgment Day, and it never seems to work.
Yeah, and I thought the match overall was a little long too.
It was long.
There was a lot of people in it, obviously, but I thought it was a long match. That yes, I'm glad Dominik beat Ray, but also I'm tired of the LWO coming back to this storyline again and again and again with no definitive conclusion in sight. We've had Ray beat Dominik in 2 huge matches. We've had Dominik beat Ray on a random Raw twice. But
you think it's a little foreshadowing to a potential LWO interference at Bash in Berlin?
Yeah, does the LWO have anything else to do than to torment Dominik Mysterio going forward? Like, well, what do they use this group for?
Dom Mysterio deserves it. At this point in Ray's career, I think he's there to help put those guys over, but you don't see Joaquin Wilde and Cruz del Toro that often. So,
And that's the thing. If Ray is there to help put them over, give him more storylines revolving around them rather than just his son, who is thought to be one of the biggest heels in the industry right now. Like, let him take a step back from Dominik and have a separate storyline.
Who do you think would be good for him?
I don't think there's anyone good for him. That's the problem. So much of the roster on both shows are tied up in so many different storylines that overlap.
What about no, I don't think the Final Testament would work. Those are too big of guys for the LWO. Yeah, I'd be one to think on. Zelina looks like she's kind of getting into her own storyline. But yeah.
Have Ray just mentor the other two and coach them up through the tag division. Have him do something. Put him in the Intercontinental tournament, which now would be him and Dominik again. But just, if they're going to overlap, it doesn't have to be a face-to-face constant fight against each other. Have them just in similar storylines where they may cross each other's paths more naturally rather than seeking him out constantly.
It's true. They could definitely do different things. We mentioned the Drew and CM Punk rivalry last week. I thought it was fitting. Drew sits in there and imitates CM Punk and says, all you do is attack me from behind, calls him out on it. Looks like CM Punk's going to actually come down the stairs or the stage. Ramp. I don't know why I couldn't get that word. The ramp. And face him one-on-one and another attack from behind. So,
yeah, and this one felt particularly like a heel move.
It did, and it's not going to matter what he does because the crowd is so convinced he's the good guy.
Yeah, I think this was a better promo between the two of them than they had in a bit. But they're definitely letting CM Punk play the heel without being the heel.
And it's working.
Yeah, somehow it is, but like that made it work better than it has in a bit.
I have this theory, and I can't prove it, but it tends to be the show before a big PLE. Whoever wins the promo and gets their licks in tends to lose the match. So I have this feeling that we're going to get another CM Punk loss.
Yeah, I agree with that theory. It seems like that happens a lot. Not every time, but more often than not, it seems to go that way. And that would kind of even them up for another big match down the road.
Like I text you, I think it eventually leads to a street fight, last man standing, whatever. But yeah, I think Punk eventually is going to win the rivalry, and I just hope it happens soon because I would love a Drew McIntyre Gunther rivalry / match.
Yeah, I'm assuming either Bad Blood or whatever the PLE after that, where we almost at Survivor Series at this point. One of those is going to finally
Bad blood
be
is
the
made
ending point.
for them.
Yeah. Yeah, if they didn't bring that PLE name back specifically for them, I don't know why they did.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
I think that's what's going to be. I think Drew McIntyre has to win at this point again, just to kind of give them a more even footing as far as who has the advantage before they go into that final
Well,
match of
here's the
this feud.
thing. Punk has the history with Seth Rollins next, whenever Seth comes back. So they have something to do with him. You put Drew in the picture, after the Randy match, and it's just something for both of them to do, and Drew's matches aren't interrupted every freaking time by CM Punk.
Yeah.
All right, man.
Yeah.
Any other beef or things to say?
On Raw, I really liked Randy thanking the crowd for singing along and then saying, even though it took you 15 years.
I think that was one of the better promos I've seen Randy do in a long time.
Yeah.
It felt very personable. Um, really built up the match with Gunther, which I think is going to be a hell of a match.
Yeah. It's a shame that Randy's doing such great work on the mic right now for what is 90% going to be a loss for him.
I would love Randy to do another New Evolution thing.
Yeah. I want him to have something. I'm so tired of him losing at every PLE.
I am too.
Like,
That's why
obviously
it's
he's
not
not going to
him
beat Gunther.
winning. Let a team win,
Yeah.
or
Yeah, so I think his last PLE win was with a team.
I mean, he's already got KO with them, so now they just need a young guy, and they got their New Evolution.
Yeah, KO, who had a moment last week, or this past
That
Friday,
was
like I was
such
asking
good
for.
acting. That I really thought he was going to hit him, and then he's just like, "Oh no!"
Just aggressively passes the title off
Yeah,
and acts like he meant to go up to the ropes and yell. And then
yeah,
Cody just standing there, like, "Wait a minute, are
it
these
was
two
so
right
good.
about him?"
And the Grayson Waller Austin Theory package they put together of him betraying people was so good. I'm like,
Yeah,
they really got him. He has
Cody
that every single time.
Cody just blowing it off up until he sees Kevin Owens running at him, and he's like, "God, those two were right for once."
Well, my favorite is Kevin Owens. They deserved it, except for Kofi. That was my bad.
And then him just trying to convince Cody, "You agree, right? They did deserve it." And Cody's like,
Yeah,
"Sure, buddy, sure."
yeah. I think that'll
And
be an
then
interesting match. And honestly, I can't say for sure, but I could see Cody Rhodes losing there,
yeah, I think that
making it more and more of me to believe that could happen.
yeah, I don't think he'll lose to Kevin Owens, but I think Kevin Owens would be a good person for him to lose against, where they could build up another PLE or two for Cody to win it back.
Yeah. And then obviously we're going to get The Rock and Roman again come WrestleMania season. I think we all know that's where we're heading.
Yeah. And just speaking of that whole storyline from Friday, the Grayson Waller effect to open the show.
So good.
With Austin Theory just standing there flexing into the camera the entire time.
It was so good.
He's ridiculous, and I'm so excited for the two of them to split eventually.
That team is ridiculous. Grayson Waller put on a good match. But yeah, I'm excited for those two to have a rivalry with each other. I think it would be a good time to finally see Austin Theory be a face. Because, like this, and you've heard from multiple people, he's such a class act outside of the ring and takes his time with fans. So it'd be nice for him to get the appreciation in ring as well.
Yeah, and I think Grayson Waller, the way they've built this, even though I think the build is taking a little longer than I expected, I think it'll be a great first feud for him to be a face.
Yeah.
And then on SmackDown, we had the 6-woman tag match with Alba, Isla, and Blair versus Jade, Bianca, and Naomi. Which I didn't like the ending of the match, just the way it ended.
No, I wasn't a fan of most of that match.
I do like that Alba and Isla did look a little bit stronger than they have in the past, where they were actually in the ring and wrestling and taking some of the momentum behind them, not just sitting it out and waiting. And at the very least, at least they did protect the champions from taking a pin in a tag match.
I don't like the Naomi and Blair Davenport being grouped with the tag teams. I think they should have their own thing. If
Yeah,
you want to push somebody, let them get a solo run. Start that rivalry. I mean, Blair has cost Naomi several times, so.
Yeah, and the two of them, I think the problem with not aligning them with the tag teams is more for Blair, in that if she does have a big feud with Naomi, that almost puts her into the women's WWE Championship picture.
Yeah,
since
maybe,
Naomi has
but
been there constantly.
I mean, I'm not really looking at Naomi right there, right now.
No, but I think having her move from Bayley and that championship picture right into a feud with someone new to the roster, they don't want to push Blair up there too much. They just want to get her screen time right now. But yeah, I don't know that this particular combination was the best one.
Well, even if Blair doesn't win with the Naomi rivalry, she's getting a little bit of a push. And I don't think she needs to win for it to help her.
However, I do have to say I do like her with Alba and Nyla just because their Twitter
They
posts are
fit
fantastic
together for sure, the character wise and things like that. I just don't like another controversial statement. It seems like if you are a black woman superstar, they're just like, oh, you tag with the other black woman, and that's like the commonplace there. And that's what I'm saying. I don't think Naomi needs that tag team.
Yeah, and I don't think that's controversial. I think that's just kind of the trope they've fallen into that they don't know how to get away from at this point. Honestly, at this point, they should have just had Naomi continue to team up with Bayley post her loss and have the two of them do something together rather than throwing her in with Jade and Bianca, which I don't know. Yeah, I don't think that's the team they needed right now. Especially because Jade and Bianca, I don't want to see them take the tag titles back already.
I think that they both should have a rivalry with each other and eventually put themselves in the women's championship picture. That makes more sense to me for them.
Yeah, and I thought that they would start to break up by now.
Yeah.
Like when they were tag champions, I thought they would build a little more friction between them. And I'd rather see that friction than see them go for the tag titles again.
Well, how much of it do you think is in real time developing Jade in the ring for a one-on-one with Bianca?
Oh, I'm sure plenty of it is still her needing to polish up her work and her wrestling, but
I mean, Bianca's not an easy woman to keep up with.
No, but there is a huge women's roster that they can have her build with, and they can have her wrestle rather than having to keep them in the women's tag title picture.
Yeah.
When there's your perfect tag champions again, Chelsea Green and Piper Niven,
who have
been just backstage terrorizing.
Tacky time. It's great. Yeah, a Chelsea Green, Tiffany Stratton promo would be the most annoying / great thing they will ever do on SmackDown at some point.
Yeah, no, that's gonna be one to remember.
Yeah,
that'll be a great set of YouTube clips that'll be in the millions of views.
All right, man. Is it ranking time?
Yeah, we can jump into that. I don't think there was really anything else we missed on SmackDown or Raw.
No. The people will let us know.
I do want to say one thing. I did like Kevin Owens asking permission from Nick Aldis to go punch people in the face this time. He's like, do we have time for me to get in the ring and punch them in the face? And Nick Aldis kind of just looking at his watch like, make it fast.
Yeah, actually getting permission.
It's like, yeah, I guess you can.
All right, so we started this ranking series last week. We did wrestling quotes or phrases or however you want to put it. Last week we did a top 10, 5 picks each. This week we're going to do 6 picks each, so a top 12. We're doing intro music this week. We're going to snake it again, but this time we're going to start bottom from top, and our number 1 pick will be last.
Yeah. Do you want to go first this week since I went first last week?
Sure. All right. Well, for my what would be my 6th ranked pick, I'm going to go personal favorite of mine. I'm going to go Live in Fear, the Wyatt family.
Okay. Okay. I
feel like
I
I'm
had
going to have
that-
to jump around the board because I have no idea what you're going to snipe from me.
I had a hard time with my list because I was trying not to make it super just modern.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like, some of the modern ones I like to just listen to regularly rather than just as their entrance songs as well.
Yeah.
But I've got a huge list in front of me, and I was really struggling to rank these. Number 6, though, I think I'm going to go with Chris Jericho's Break the Walls Down.
That was going to be my next pick. Got it. Okay.
And then we're snaking, so I get my number 5 pick.
Yeah.
And then I will go from that to I Walk Alone from Batista.
Yeah, had it on the list.
Yeah, I figured we'd have a lot of overlap on this one, more so than the quotes.
Yeah. All right. So, my number 5 pick.
Okay.
I'm going to go Are You Ready, DX.
Okay, I had that on mine. That was probably going to be one of my next.
This is hard. This will be my 4th pick. All right. I go with one of my personal favorites because I loved this era of this character's Basic Thugonomics.
Yeah. Yeah, I would pick that one over Time Is Now, honestly.
Yeah. I loved that version of John Cena, the Doctor of Thugonomics.
And I would love to see him bring that entrance back just for even a couple appearances the next year.
Yeah, me too.
All right, so this is going to be my number 4 pick.
Yeah.
I'm really struggling on this list now because I'm torn between 2 of them. One modern and one less modern.
Okay.
I think I'm going to go the modern route, though, and I'm going to go Rhea Ripley, Demon in Your Dreams.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah. And then that takes me to my number 3.
Well, we're getting up there now.
And this is one of my favorite entrances, not just because I'm ranking it this high, but it's, I don't know, I love this one. And it's going to be Edge's theme song.
Fuck. Yeah, I knew it was coming. That was my number 1, actually.
Yeah, it could have been my number 1. Like, I don't know how often you're on TikTok, but I get tons of videos where it's like, oh, blind rank these top 5 songs. It'll just play 5 random theme songs. And I'll just be sitting there going through this video, like, ranking them in my head, and every time Edge comes up, I'm like, damn it, that's not high enough.
Yeah. Yeah, You Think You Know Me is one of the all-time, like, intros of all time.
Yeah.
All right, so what am I on my number 3 pick?
Yes.
Or did you do 2?
No, I did my 4 and 3 just now, so you should be on your number 3 pick.
All right, my 3 and my 2. My 3 is going to be Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Okay.
Glass Break.
Yeah, that's just one that's just iconic. No matter how long you've been into wrestling, you know that song.
And then my 2, I'm sure you have this on your list. I'm going with The Game, Triple H.
Yeah. That was the one I was torn between if I wanted to put it on the list in place of Rhea Ripley.
Yeah.
And it honestly could have been my number 2. So I'm on my 2 and 1 now, aren't I?
Yeah.
All right. So my
Take my
number two,
second number one pick, I'm sure.
I'm sure. My number two might surprise some people. I don't know. It probably won't surprise you, but some people out there. It's Grayson Waller's entrance theme.
It's catchy.
Like Say So. It's so catchy that I find myself on Spotify sometimes just searching up Grayson Waller and just letting it play through whatever comes up after his song. But for some reason, I just really like his entrance theme.
Yeah.
And then number one, Kingdom, Cody Rhodes.
Yeah, I had Cody Rhodes on here. That wasn't my number one pick. He was going to be towards the bottom. Okay. So I'm glad he didn't steal he did steal a number one Edge, but my second pick, my number one pick, because I find myself singing this song, usually after a couple of libations, is Sexy Boy, Shawn Michaels.
I almost had that on my list. But that's a good one to put at the top. I almost had him in like my 4 slot as well. I literally have like a list of like 40 of them in front of me, and most of them are more classic ones. Triple H's The Game theme song is one that very nearly, like I literally just cut it for Rhea Ripley. Like I had him planned in that spot already.
2 that didn't make my list that I have down here is No Chance in Hell, Vince McMahon's theme song.
Yeah.
And then Metal, Kurt Angle. I mean.
Yeah. I had a really hard time not having Randy Orton's song on this list as well.
Yeah, I have Randy down. I would have picked him in the bottom, but honestly, I was expecting you to take it, so...
Yeah, I thought you were going to take him.
I think his song has gained more popularity this last year.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. I like some of his older theme songs as well, too. Like his first entrance song was really good. Same with the Evolution theme song.
Yeah.
The problem with that is I had Triple H on my list, and the Evolution theme song, obviously being the same band, is so similar.
Well...
And I had Triple H on my list literally up until I said Rhea Ripley instead, out loud.
Well, I'm glad he didn't take it.
Yeah. AJ Styles' last song was really good before they started to change it a little bit.
Yeah, I wasn't a fan of the change.
I don't like the change, but his one before that is good.
Yeah.
And this is obviously just the song, because I think that I would have a completely different ranking for a full entrance package.
Yeah.
Which I think we should do down the road. That was a really hard one to come up with, because like I said, I struggled a lot with, do I go with just all of the really classic, well-known themes that everyone knows?
Yeah, you sent the idea to me, and I was like, I don't even know if I want to do that. There's so many places I can go. I knew Edge was going to be my number one.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah, that's fine. Why don't we get into your SmackDown?
Yeah, because
I can cry over here.
Yeah, because like the fact that we left off just like the most iconic theme songs that are well known by everyone, The Rock, Hulk Hogan. You did take Stone Cold, which was on my list. I wasn't sure if I wanted it there, but yeah, it was a hard one.
Other than The Rock's beginning of his entrance, I'm not a huge fan of the music.
No, I do like his current one a little more, honestly. His new like Final Boss entrance music. I think it's a little bit better than the older version of it.
All right. Well,
that was hard. That was harder than it should have been.
We got our SmackDown, then we got our Bash in Berlin, and then we have
Raw following.
Wrestling is Fiction universe is busy in this episode.
It is, and I've got a pretty filled out SmackDown show this week for you.
Good.
And this is going to be the August 30th SmackDown, right before Bash in Berlin. And I guess I'm going to have to start making all my matches official, because I haven't really let anyone know what's coming. There's been a lot of teases and storylines, and we're going to open up the show once again with Randy Orton coming out. And he's in the ring. He had some big problems last week after his win with JD, getting attacked by Damian. And he's in the ring, and he's calling out Finn Balor, and he's saying, listen, no matter what happened after the match last week, I did win. the match that I was told I have to win to get my title shot again. Bash in Berlin's tomorrow. I want this to be official, so come out to the ring and make it official with me. But instead of that, Nick Aldis comes down the ramp, and he lets Randy Orton know that Damian Priest also has a legitimate claim to that match. And despite Randy having a win, Damian Priest has come out as a legitimate threat to him. And so that the Bash in Berlin title match is going to be a triple threat. Damian Priest and Randy Orton are both getting their shots at the title again together. And
match.
Before that can happen, they are going to be forced into a tag team match that night in the main event against Finn and JD.
Wow.
Yeah. So we've got our first SmackDown match announced for Bash in Berlin finally.
It's going to be a good one.
It is. So then we've got my next match, which is Jey Uso comes out and continues his open challenge for the U.S. title. He's out there. He's calling out whoever wants to come out. And this is when Ludwig Kaiser realizes he may have just lost a feud with Jey, but he can still have his title shot. And he jumps at the chance, and he runs out there. And this is when the two of them go at it. You've seen this match a few times in Wrestling is Fiction now. Nothing really surprises anyone. Ludwig and Jey are putting on a good match. Ludwig's getting pretty technical there, which, honestly, if I'm being honest, Jey isn't that technical a wrestler, so it's kind of taken some of the momentum away from him. Ludwig's got a lot of it behind him. He's doing a lot of grapples. He's chopping Jey. But when he's got Jey in the corner, he starts chopping him. Jey kind of starts to get shaken up a little bit, but it also wakes him up, and he starts wrestling back. He's starting to chop Ludwig back, saying, "Look what I can do it too." And it looks like Jey is going to take the momentum back and start winning when Dijak comes out of the crowd and gets into the ring and attacks both of them. And he comes out, interferes, ends the match there, and he's standing over both of them, and it goes to black with him just standing over them, and he gets out of the ring and just looks at the U.S. title.
Okay, side note here. Speaking of Dijak, he's putting on a match for a local wrestling outfit in Winston-Salem, North Carolina by me here in a couple weeks.
That's cool.
Might have to go see him.
Yeah,
get him on the podcast.
Do it. Be like, hey, we still like you.
Yeah.
I was shopping at Big Lots the other day, and they had a ton of his action figures there, but from like years ago when he was still going by like Dominik.
Yeah.
Like they had a ton of him there next to a bunch of Seth Rollins.
All right.
And I was very tempted by that. No, that's good.
Fourth wall.
So then that was our commercial break right there. That was perfect. So then we come back from commercial, and backstage, Jay's looking a little beat up, but he's in Nick Aldis's office, and he's telling Nick that he wants his open challenge to continue next week, but to get to that point, he is going to give Dijak a U.S. title shot the next day at Bash in Berlin. And he wants it to be a no-holds-barred match against him.
I don't know if that's a smart thing with Dijak, but we'll see.
It's not, but I don't know that Jey Uso's thinking smart. He's just thinking, I wanna be that fighting champion, and if this is what I have to do, this is what I have to do.
Oh.
This will take us into my next match of the night, which is Gigi Dolan versus Indy Hartwell. And to no one's surprise, she puts on a really good match. She's fighting hard. She's really going for it, but Indy Hartwell's just kind of overpowering her. Gigi's really fired up. She's running circles around Indy to start. But Indy Hartwell is a very strong wrestler. And I don't think that she gets enough TV time for people to realize that. And she really just uses her strength to fight back and just picks up Gigi for a couple big slams. And she ends up winning the match by hitting a big boot and then a big spine buster on Gigi Dolan to kind of put her away there.
Will Gigi Dolan ever get a win?
No. Maybe.
Since Money in the Bank, she's just been getting destroyed.
Yeah. So then we're backstage after this, and we've got two different things going on. So the camera's on one part of it right now, and it's Dominik Mysterio and Rhea Ripley, and he's got his briefcase, and he's talking to her about how he's feeling like he may be cashing in soon. He's getting close to his time. And Rhea looks at him, and she's like, and you know what? I've been out of action for a long time, but I'm finally cleared again. I think I'm ready to wrestle and take this women's division back. And that's when Bayley turns the corner. And Bayley is like, you know, you're not the only person who's back now. And this is my division still. I'm going to prove it. I'm going to make my comeback. And I'm also ready for action. And the two of them face each other down. And Rhea's like, well, how about we both get in the ring together for the first time after a while? Both of us make our comeback together. And see who's really going to take this division.
Liv Morgan might be in trouble.
Yeah, a little bit. And speaking of her, over in one of the locker rooms there, Liv and Stephanie are in the locker room together. And Liv is talking to Stephanie about her match that she's got next with Tegan Nox. And Liv is also questioning her. She's like, you know, I was okay with this at first, but I really want to know what's in this for you. Why are you trying to partner with me so badly? Do you just want another shot at my title? And Stephanie's like, no, you don't understand. I really respect you. I really think that you're a great woman to take this company into the future. I just don't think my time has passed yet. And Liv is like, okay, Stephanie, okay. And then it takes us into our next match, which is Stephanie McMahon and Tegan Nox. And the two of them have a pretty big match. Natalia's at ringside, Liv is at ringside. They're both watching on. And Tegan Nox starts off just targeting Stephanie's legs, just trying to take them out from under her, weaken her a bit so she has to kind of limp around a little bit. And she really just wants to take an early advantage. But Stephanie fights back with a bunch of really good strikes and is kind of just keeping Tegan off balance. At one point, Tegan runs underneath Stephanie's arm, though, bounces off the back ropes, and she goes to jump at her, but Stephanie catches her and hits her with a spine buster. And she goes to cover her. She gets a very near fall at 2. And they start going at it again, and Tegan goes for her finisher, but Stephanie counters it by just slapping her. And she kicks her in the gut and actually hits a pedigree and gets the win there. And outside the ring, Liv Morgan gets in the ring to celebrate with Stephanie, and she goes to kick Tegan, and that's when Natalya gets in the ring and just gets in her face and pushes her back before the ref kind of just pushes them apart.
So is Steph taking Seth Rollins' move now? Or is it still Triple H's move?
I think she had to go to Rollins at this point and ask permission.
There's only one active guy with it.
Yeah, aside from WrestleMania last year when Cody Rhodes hit it.
Yeah, Cody Rhodes uses it randomly.
Yeah, good for him.
Yeah.
that made, just off topic again for this commercial break, but that made that first Roman Cody match feel like such a classic Triple H Rock feud.
Yeah,
they had rock bottoms and pedigrees, and
they did.
And then as we come back from that little reminiscing commercial there, we have a match that's going to lead into the newly announced tag title rematch at Bash in Berlin. Tommaso Ciampa and Dexter Lumis are going to defend their titles against Braun Breaker and Baron Corbin. And to go into that match, we've got Tommaso Ciampa versus Braun Breaker in a one-on-one match. And it starts off with
on SmackDown.
Starts off with the two of them in the middle of the ring, facing each other down. And they both just start going for just heavy-hitting blows and to each other right there in the middle of the ring. Neither of them are backing down. Neither of them are really showing that they're affected by this. They're just beating each other, both standing upright. But it kind of gives way with Braun Breaker getting a few bigger hits at the end of that. And he starts to overpower Tommaso Ciampa a little, but Ciampa's got a little more experience, so that keeps him battling back and fighting. But the match ends in a no contest DQ because both Baron Corbin and Dexter Lumis can't stay out of it, and they both get in the ring and just start brawling, all four of them. They're just tossing each other around the ring, and Dexter Lumis is beating Baron Corbin in the corner up until Braun Breaker hits him with a spear. But as he's getting up from that spear, Tommaso Ciampa picks him up and hits him with a powerbomb as well. So it's just carnage. They're just beating each other in the ring. And it goes to black as the referees are all coming down. Security's coming down to break them up. And commentary is just saying that this is what they're going to look forward to for the next night.
It's going to be chaos.
Yeah. And we've got 2 matches left. The first one is Rhea Ripley and Bayley. And they're both getting back in the ring. Bayley hasn't really done much since she lost her title. And Rhea Ripley hasn't been seen at all in the ring on Wrestling is Fiction. And the two of them go at it. Bayley's a little more experienced than Rhea, even though Rhea's in the ring a lot now. But she's, similarly to an earlier match, she's targeting Rhea's legs. And she's trying to cut her down. She's trying to take some power away from her. And she's getting her down on the ground and locking her in a couple different submissions, targeting her legs, trying to really weaken her. But Rhea Ripley, she doesn't give up. She powers out of a Bayley to belly, and she starts making her comeback. She starts going for some strikes, and then she even hits a drop kick that knocks her into the turnbuckle. And then she actually picks Bayley up and puts her up at the top and hits a superplex. And Rhea's starting to get a little bit of momentum against her. And at this point, Bayley's just frustrated. And she goes for a quick roll-up pin where she catches Rhea off balance, and she even starts to leverage herself on the ropes. But Rhea still kicks out of it. And Rhea gets up, and she hits Bayley with a big boot and then hits her riptide to win. And Dominik gets in the ring. He comes running down. He wasn't out there with her, but he's running down with his briefcase. He throws it down. He's just holding up Rhea's hand. He's excited that she won her comeback match.
Yeah, Riptide is a finisher that actually seems like it hurts.
Yeah, no, that looks awful. I would not. No, it looks awful.
Yeah.
So many of the finishers, you can see the exact spot where, like, they're protecting the person they're attacking, but Riptide just, no. She's just literally killing people out there. This takes us into our main event of Randy and Damian versus Finn and JD, which is a pretty hard tag team for Randy and Damian to come up with because there's a lot of tension there. It starts off pretty back and forth. JD is really targeting Randy's back, as everyone seems to do these days. And Randy is trying to keep up. He's in a little bit of pain. When he goes to tag Damian the first time, Damian actually moves out of the way and doesn't let him. So JD swings Randy over into his corner. And JD tags Finn in. Finn starts attacking Randy Orton. Randy's really taking a beating for a lot of this match. You look confused over there. I'm so sorry I'm beating Randy up. But he finally does allow himself to get tagged in, and Damian gets in. He starts to clear out the ring of both JD and knocking Finn out of the ring. And for a minute there, Damian Priest is just standing there in the ring, alone. Randy's very obviously winded over in their corner. And it's at the end of the match where JD finally gets back in the ring. They start to get a little bit of teamwork underneath them. And Randy actually hits an RKO on JD. And he thinks about hitting the pin, but he goes and Damien's actually the legal man still. And he kind of looks at him and he's like, I guess you're supposed to be in the ring right now. And he lets Damien hit his South of Heaven as well. And while he's hitting the pinfall, Randy goes and hits Finn off the ring again as he's trying to get in to set up the pinfall. And Randy and Damien get that win there. But it ends with the two of them face to face, staring each other down again.
Yeah, I wasn't confused. I was anticipating the moment the Viper hit somebody with an RKO.
Yeah, he kind of just snuck in the ring and hit it while Damien's back was turned. But he let Damien have his moment as well before he stared him down.
Oh, be a good one at Bash in Berlin.
Yeah. And that
And
takes
lucky
us into
for
that.
our listeners, they don't have to wait.
Yeah.
All right, so Bash in Berlin is going to kick off with our heated rivalry between Becky Lynch and Lyra Valkyria. They're in a British rules match following the WWE NXT UK rules, which are 6 3-minute rounds. There's 20-second breaks between each round. 2 out of 3 falls, no top rope maneuvers, and no exiting the ring. I'm going to go round by round here with these two. So round 1 starts, both competitors really focusing on the mat-based style wrestling, exchanging holds and counters. Becky trying to assert her control with her experience. Lyra's quickness, though, allows her to escape and really frustrate Becky. And this round ends without a fall, but you can see Becky getting frustrated and tension is building. Round 2, Becky really steps up her aggression. She's locking Lyra in a series of submission holds to try to keep her quickness down and maybe tie her out a little bit. Lyra, she fights back valiantly, but Becky catches her and to disarm her. Nowhere to go. Clock is ticking. Lyra just taps out at the end of the round, and Becky gets her first fall. Round 3, Lyra enters. She knows she needs to enter with a renewed determination. She targets Becky's arm to weaken her to try to stop her from using the disarmer. She avoids Becky's attempts at it at another submission and grounds her with her bunch of kicking and punching strikes. Near the end of the round, she's actually able to hit Becky with her Nightwing finisher and even the score 1-1. All right, round 4. Both women visibly worn down as the 4th round begins. They exchange strikes and counters in the middle of the ring with no one getting a clear advantage. Becky almost gets the win with a big suplex, but Lyra escapes in a close pinfall. And round ends without a fall, but you can tell the women are exhausted at this point after 4 rounds. Round 5, it's really a battle of wills. Becky trying again to get Lyra and her disarm her. But Lyra's able to counter it and hit this big DDT and almost secures the win. But the clock out runs out of time before she can get the cover. Both women kind of laying in the ring, rolling around. They know they get 20 seconds, but at this point, they're both exhausted. Round 6, everything on the line. Lyra kind of surprises Becky with a little more energy than she thought she had. Flurry of strikes, brutal knee to the midsection. She stumbles Becky, and Lyra sees this, and she quickly rolls her up in a small package and gets the final pinfall before time expires. So Lyra gets the match 2-1. Ref raises her hand. Crowd kind of gives them both a standing ovation after match goes 6 rounds to open the show.
That is a great opening.
Love a good British rules match.
I don't know if I'm surprised Lyra won or not.
I did not know who I wanted to win. I was leaning towards Becky, but I'm going to be honest with you. I simulated this match in ChatGPT, and went to see who they had win, and it was Lyra like every time, so I just kept it.
That's fair. All right. And then we're doing my tag team championship match next.
Hell yeah.
So we've got a rematch here of the Wolf Dogs versus Tommaso Ciampa and Dexter Lumis. They asked for this match back after the last match ended with a low blow to get a pinfall to retain their titles. And it starts off exactly as you'd expect. Baron Corbin gets in the ring first with Tommaso Ciampa, and he's really trying to keep him isolated from his corner. That's their biggest thing is they decided that they really need to just keep one person in the ring and not let Dexter Lumis get in there because he kind of scares everyone still. So Baron Corbin's really just taking it to Ciampa. He's just striking him, keeping him in the corner. He tags in Braun Breaker, and Braun Breaker gets in. He's doing the same thing. He's keeping them kind of on their side of the ring, using a lot of strikes and quick grapples to keep him in control. He tags back in with Baron Corbin again, and Ciampa starts to kind of look like he's giving in a little until he ducks underneath a hit from Baron Corbin. He starts fighting back and hits a few strikes before he can get back to his corner, and he tags in Dexter Lumis, who, rather than getting in the ring, he gets up on the top rope, and as Baron Corbin is coming that way, he hits him with like a crossbody off the top. And Dexter Lumis just takes control. He starts dominating Baron Corbin. He goes over to the corner. He kicks Braun Breaker off, and he's really just clearing out the ring. He knocks Baron Corbin out. So Tommaso Ciampa gets in the ring with Dexter Lumis, and the two of them are just celebrating with their hands up. And they may have celebrated a little too long because Braun Breaker gets up, and he's not happy. He goes and he knocks Tommaso Ciampa out of the ring and starts striking Dexter Lumis before the ref can pull him off of him and be like, "You're not the legal man." And while he's doing that, Baron Corbin gets in and he starts taking control again. He takes Lumis over to the corner and tags in Braun Breaker, who immediately runs across the ring and knocks Ciampa out again. And Dexter Lumis is in the ring alone. And while they're there, Baron Corbin is out there. He's making sure that Ciampa doesn't get up. And Braun Breaker takes control, and he ends up hitting his spear. But instead of going for the pinfall, Baron Corbin's back in their corner. He goes over, tags him in. Baron Corbin hits the end of days on Lumis and then covers him for the pinfall. And the Wolf Dogs have become the new WWE Tag Team Champions. They're celebrating. Crowd is barking.
Dogs are barking.
They're excited. Baron Corbin's happy. Braun Breaker is trying not to show it, but Baron Corbin's just literally jumping up and down. He's like, "Dude, we did it. Look at us go."
A Wolf Dog comeback story.
And they are tag team champions, and Tommaso Ciampa, at least, has held this title for the entirety of the show.
That's true, he has.
So this is the first time I've had those titles switch places, despite the fact that they're defended every couple weeks.
Yeah. Big win for the Wolf Dogs.
It is. And then what have we got next on the card?
I think we have a United States Championship match.
Yeah, let me scroll down a little here. And this is our no holds barred, Jey Uso and Dijak. Dijak had pretended to be okay with his loss against Jey Uso at the last time he went for this title and in the beginning of this open challenge. And he decided he wasn't okay with that. He's been running through the roster, attacking everyone he can, and he got his match. So it starts off with Jey Uso just kind of using his speed to evade a lot of Dijak's strength and power, running around the ring, just kind of keeping him off balance, basically. Hitting him with a couple super kicks, but honestly, Dijak isn't super phased by it. And it gets to the point where Dijak has Jay near the ropes and hits a big boot and actually just boots him out of the ring. Dijak gets out and he grabs Jay, throws him into the steel steps, and the two of them, he actually throws Jay out into the crowd, and they're battling out in the crowd. Dijak actually takes one of the nice chairs they give to people in the front rows, and he actually starts hitting Jay with that chair. And while he's there, he just throws the chair back at the guy in the crowd, just throws it to him. It's
Of course he
dented,
does.
bent in half, and almost. And Jay's just on the ground, trying to do recover a little bit, and that's when someone unexpected comes to help him out, and it's actually Gunther. And Gunther's been on the receiving end of a couple of attacks from Dijak, and he comes and just takes Dijak out, not to help Jay, but just because he's mad that he's been humiliated a few times, and Dijak has been kind of more targeting Ludwig, but he's just been in the sidelines and been attacked just because Dijak's so angry. And he takes Dijak, he throws him into the barricade, throws him back into the kind of the outside of the ring area, and he looks over at Jay on the ground, and he just kind of shrugs, kicks him once, and walks back away through the crowd. So he really wasn't there for Jay, and Jay's getting up. The crowd is obviously all around him, trying to hype him up, and he gets back over. He starts to cross the barricade, and Dijak has a kendo stick and starts hitting him immediately. And Jay's really getting beat down. Dijak throws him back in the ring and goes to cover him, and Jay kicks out about as close to a 3 count as you can get. And Jay rolls out of the ring, and he's just sitting by the apron, and Dijak goes to get out of the ring as well, and he doesn't realize that Jay had pulled a chair out from under the ring, and he hits Dijak straight in the head with it. And that's kind of the turning point where Jay starts to get a little bit more momentum. He's thrown Dijak off. He's got him against the barricade outside of the ring, and he's super kicking him 3 times in a row before he throws him back in the ring. And Jay runs in, slides into the ring, and Dijak is a little dazed, and Jay hits a spear on Dijak, realizes it wasn't quite enough, and he waits for him to get up and hits him with a second spear before he covers him for a 3 count. And Jay just barely retains that title.
What a match.
He got a little more than he bargained for, asking for that no holds barred, and if it wasn't for Gunther just being an angry German, I don't think he would have pulled it off.
Yeah.
So
all right,
more to come on that later, most likely.
Let's go to another tag match. The Raw Tag Team Champions, The Miz and Kofi Kingston, are defending against the IFCs, Kevin Owens and Ilya Dragunov, with Sheamus at ringside for the IFC and R-Truth and Xavier Woods supporting the champions. Match starts out fast-paced and pretty hard-hitting. Kofi's using his agility and high-flying moves. Miz using experience. He's kind of crafty in the ring to outsmart his opponents. But Owens and Dragunov are having to counter with more of their power and brutality in the ring to wear down Kofi from using his high-flying ability, and The Miz from simply using his craftiness in the ring. Match is starting to get to its climax. Kofi gains momentum, and he's looking to finish with Trouble in Paradise. This is when Sheamus jumps up on the apron to distract the referee. Kevin Owens enters the ring and hits Kofi with a super kick. Miz tries to intervene. Dragunov hits him with a vicious Torpedo Moscow. And this is when R-Truth and Xavier Woods jump on the apron to get the ref's attention. Hey, they're interfering. And the ref turns around to try to get control of them. Sheamus sneaks into the ring and hits a bro kick on Kofi. Owens and Dragunov take advantage. Dragunov makes the cover. Owens is standing there to block Miz from breaking the pin. Ref finally turns around, sees the cover, counts to 3. The IFC are the new Raw Tag Team Champions.
Ooh. I don't know if I saw the tag titles moving hands that quickly.
Well, Well, you guys complained that Miz and R-Truth had him forever, so
I don't know who you guys is. I was just surprised you kept it with them so long. I don't know what you mean by you people.
you. All right, so we'll go to Raw's main event, the co-main event of Bastion Berlin. Um, sees Cody Rhodes defending his WWE Championship against Drew McIntyre. Same kind of thing. Match is hard hitting, back and forth. Cody is regular, giving his heart and soul in the ring. He's using his agility and resilience to try to counter what Drew has the advantage for in strength. And Cody lands several close calls in this match. He's hit a crossroads, hits a couple disaster kicks, and he's not able to put Drew away. And Drew's also hit Cody with some suplexes, and he gets a near fall after he hits a Claymore, but Cody kicks out. Match is kind of getting to the end here. They're exhausted. They're trading blows in the center of the ring. Cody gets the advantage, and he's setting up for a crossroads. Right before he's about to hit it, Money in the Bank winner Dominik Mysterio's music hits. Arena's kind of in chaos. It's crazy. They see Dom running down the ring, briefcase in hand, looking like he's going to try to cash in. The ref and Cody are both distracted by Dom running down here. Cody thinks he might be preparing for a triple threat. Right when Dom gets to the ring, he smirks and just kind of waves it off with a hand motion. It was a fake cash-in attempt. Cody turns around, but it's too late. Drew hits him with a sudden and thunderous Claymore kick. Drew quickly covers Cody, and referee's attention is back on the match. He counts to 3. Drew McIntyre's crowned the new WWE champion, while Dom retreats up the ramp, smirking at that chaos he caused. And Drew's hand held in the center of the ring by the referee. And look on Cody's face is just disbelief.
I think the entire crowd would be in disbelief at that point after that scumbag Dominik Mysterio showed up.
Yeah. Scumbag. I can just hear Michael Cole now.
Yeah, the anger.
You two-timing son of a bitch.
Which, I don't know if you saw, but Michael Cole's going to be back on SmackDown now.
Yeah?
With Corey Graves.
Good.
Up until the Netflix deal goes through and he reunites with Pat McAfee, supposedly.
All right, what do we got? A main event to get through?
We do. We've got Finn Balor versus Randy Orton versus Damian Priest for the World Heavyweight Championship. And it starts off with all three of them in the ring just facing each other down. And it almost immediately just goes into chaos. Randy Orton goes after Damian Priest, and Finn Balor is just kind of standing off to the side, just taking his moments to get a kick in here, a chop in there, just letting them kind of battle it out and just try to keep the advantage to himself, just not by wearing himself out. Damian Priest actually gets a bit of momentum behind him by knocking Orton down with a big boot, and he goes and targets Finn Balor, and he goes for a very early Razor's Edge. And he goes to cover Finn and gets a 2 count as Randy Orton gets up and breaks it up. And Damian Priest immediately puts his attention back on Orton. He goes for a South of Heaven, but Orton counters it. He hits a backbreaker, and he just goes a little crazy after that. He hits his DDT on Finn Balor. He goes over to Damian Priest, hits a DDT on him. He's really taking control of the match. Finn Balor is actually the first to recover from them since he's a little bit fresher. He tried to stay out of it as much as he can. And he starts using his speed. He hits a dropkick on Randy Orton. He hits a sling blade. He starts to go up to the top rope, but Damian Priest pulls him down, hits a chokeslam on him, and gets another close fall. And really no one's keeping the momentum. It's really back and forth between all of them. Randy Orton hits an RKO just out of nowhere on Damian Priest, but before he can do anything, he's not even off the mat yet, and Finn Balor is jumping off the top rope, and he hits a very sudden coup de grace on Randy Orton as the RKO hits. And Finn covers Orton immediately and gets a 3 count before anyone can even realize that he had capitalized on the moment. And Finn Balor retains the title and just gets out of the ring as quickly as he can.
You've heard of RKO out of nowhere. Have you heard of coup de grace out of nowhere?
Yeah, he had to steal an idea of just unexpected moment. He stayed out of the ring as much as he could. He tried to stay out of the fighting, and when he knew Randy was taking up the momentum, he was just staying near that corner as much as he could and just waited for his moment.
Oh man, I think we gave Germany a pretty good PLE. Had 3 titles change hands. Got a no-holds barred match.
Gunther about to make an appearance.
Yeah. All right, so real quick, we'll knock out the Raw following Bash in Berlin, which will take place September 2nd. Opening segment is Drew McIntyre's championship celebration. He opens the show holding his newly won WWE championship. He talks about beating Cody Rhodes and solidifying his place at the top like he should be. Cody interrupts, comes down to the ring, and he demands a match. Things are starting to get heated between the two. Dominik Mysterio's music hits again, and he starts running down the ramp with his briefcase again and stops halfway and just starts laughing and waves off Cody. Music cuts, they kind of exchange words, and Raw goes to commercial.
Dominik is a monster.
We come back, and we have CM Punk's open challenge again. He steps in the ring, says, "Somebody come down here and face me," and crowd is waiting to hear what music hits, and weirdly, the arena lights go out, and it's plunges into darkness, the venue, for several seconds. When the lights come back on, the crowd is like kind of confused, and Punk's looking around suspiciously, but Bronson's Reed music finally hits. Reed dominates early. He uses his size and power, and Punk's kind of getting overwhelmed, and he eventually has to roll out the ring, take a break, and kind of come back and use his experience to take Reed. The match ends when Reed goes for a tsunami, but Punk gets up quick enough and kind of hits him with a modified go to sleep. He obviously can't lift Reed to do it, but he gets him midair. Gets the cover 1, 2, 3. He grabs the mic after the match and says he's ready for anyone at any time.
Just to go to sleep out of nowhere now?
Yeah. All right.
In your commercial break, real quick, we didn't mention the fact that Bronson Reed may have killed Braun Strowman.
Yeah, we didn't. We were remiss for that.
Just the car,
all over
sparking.
The internet, though. I know. The way they rigged it up for that was hilarious to me. It's like the mirror sparked. It was like, why would there be...
It starts sparking, all the windows blow out.
Yeah. All right, this takes us into a continuation of last week, a Chad Gable Shinsuke Nakamura match. Nakamura won last week, but Gable attacked him after the match, so they got another one-on-one. It's an intense match. Gable's getting more and more aggressive, wanting to prove he can beat Nakamura. He's trying to make a name for himself. Nakamura is using his strong style strikes. He keeps Gable away, frustrating him. But eventually Gable gets him into an ankle lock, and Nakamura actually reaches the ropes, but Chad Gable just won't let go, no matter how much the ref says. So ref calls a disqualification. Gable kind of hits the ref with a clothesline, puts Nakamura back in his ankle lock, and holds it for a few more seconds, then gets out the ring. And after the match, you could see Nakamura's really left limping, and seems we got a growing rivalry here. So after coming back from commercial break, we get a Braun Strowman sighting, and he's going up against the head of the family, the Don, Tony D'Angelo. Braun Strowman makes his presence felt right away. He dominates with his immense power, tossing D'Angelo, who's not a small guy, around the ring. Tony D, he tries to use his street smarts and quick strikes to mount a comeback, but Strowman's strength is just too much. He finishes the match, running power slam, secures a decisive victory. Strowman stands tall, and he's looking kind of meaner than ever there.
Is he gonna have a real storyline in your show?
Maybe I'm building something. Who knows?
Maybe.
This cuts to a backstage interview. It was officially announced LA Knight will take on Jacob Fatu for the Intercontinental Championship at Bad Blood. Knight's getting interviewed by Jackie Redmond backstage, and he starts to talk up his chances and mock the bloodline as he does, but he's almost immediately blindsided by Solo Sikoa and Tongaloa. They brutally attack him, slamming into equipment and leaving him battered on the floor. Officials rush to help him. Solo and Tongaloa walk away, kind of sending a message that the bloodline's going to stop at nothing to try to protect their dominance. Commercial, we come back. Tiffany Stratton music hits. She comes out to kind of boast about being champion. Bianca Belair interrupts her again, making it clear she's not done with Stratton. And she challenges Tiffy to a rematch. And Stratton again is kind of just like, no, I'm good. I don't feel like I need to give you a match. You were women's champion long enough. And it ends with Bianca just kind of saying, we'll see what Adam Pearce has to think about that. Tiffy kind of looks a little look of concern on her face in the ring, and Bianca's music hits, and she walks backstage. And this leads us to our main event. It's a tag team match. Cody Rhodes, once again, teaming up with Seth Rollins. And they're going to go against Drew McIntyre and Dominik Mysterio. Cody's going to try to get his hands on Dom. Match is chaotic. Cody and Drew are really fighting, and Dom is just using every trick in the book to piss Cody off and try to stay ahead. And this match never really gets resolved. It kind of ends in just a no contest brawl that spills out of the ring. The ref loses control. He counts everybody out. And the show goes off air with all four of them just brawling and trying to be broken up by security and officials.
That makes sense. Dominik Mysterio is in that point where he's just showing up everywhere again.
Scumbag.
I do have to say, his NXT North American Championship run where he was just on every show was fantastic.
Yeah. All right. Well, that wraps up a long show.
Yeah, before we completely cut it, I do want to do one little quick segment with the two of us.
Oh, boy.
Let's go through and do our Bash in Berlin predictions to end the show.
Okay.
We've got 5 matches announced. So, first, there's the Women's Tag Team Championship. Alba and Isla versus Jade and Bianca. Who are you thinking there?
The way those titles have been changing hands, I'm going to take Jade and Bianca.
That's honestly fair. That makes a lot of sense, but I do want to see Alba and Isla retain.
Well, we're not doing who we want. We're doing who we think.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Alba and Isla still.
Okay.
I'm going to say they find a way to retain.
All right.
We've got CM Punk and Drew McIntyre, which I think we both said earlier in the show. We think CM Punk is going to win that one.
No, I said I think Drew is going to win.
I mean, that's what I meant. Is Drew. I was literally looking at a picture of Drew McIntyre as I said that. We both think Drew's going to win. They kind of have to keep them on even footing to go into the next PLE.
Yeah.
Then we have our mixed tag team match. Damian and Rhea versus Dominik and Liv.
Yeah, I think for purposes of storyline, I got Dom and Liv with Judgment Day interference.
Yeah, I think it has to be Dominik and Liv. because if Damian and Rhea win this early, it kind of takes a lot of the momentum from this storyline.
Yeah.
Kevin Owens and Cody Rhodes.
As much as they are making it more believable for KO to win that match, I still am going to take Cody Rhodes to win.
Yeah, so do I. I think Cody is going to win this one. I don't see him dropping the title unless it's to The Rock or Roman Reigns down the road to set up something for them for the next WrestleMania or something.
Exactly it.
Which is sad because we're going to have so much filler where they don't know what to do with Cody to make these believable feuds. Unless they have a Kevin Owens like full heel turn and they let them go at it for a couple of months.
That'd be good.
Like, I can see Cody retaining, but I would like to see an actual good match between them where Kevin doesn't hold back.
And Kevin Owens away from the bloodline for a while.
Yeah. And then we've got Gunther and Randy Orton.
I know we both are going to hate to say it, but Gunther's retaining. It's his first defense, and his what seems to be his character's home country.
Yeah, it's going to be another loss for Randy Orton on a PLE, which we're not escaping seemingly this whole year.
No.
It's going to be a great match, I think. But yeah, I think Gunther has to win this one.
All right, there you have it. The experts have weighed in.
We'll see if we get all these right next week when we go over the card again in our recap.
Yeah. All right, well, I guess it's shout-out socials time. All I'm going to say is continue to like and subscribe and share this around.
Yeah, leave some comments, please, on any of our places that you can. Spotify has a full comment section now rather than just answering a question. YouTube has comments. You can send us a message on whatever social media. Usually Twitter would probably be the easiest to get our attention, where we post about wrestling the most. Leave me some TikTok DMs. Pop into one of my lives when I'm playing a game. Talk about it. I've had people do that. I will say, I don't know what happened last week after our episode, but we got a handful of listens on every single episode again last week too. Like one of our previous episodes from like 2 or 3 weeks ago only had about 2 or 3 views on that one episode for some reason, which is very low for all of ours, and it jumped up to 10 in a day.
Wow.
And it showed that we had listens across the board on just about every episode, and we just about every number went up. Working. Yeah, so hopefully someone out there caught our show, shared it with someone, and we got a listening across the board on every episode just about, which is nice to see.
Awesome.
Yeah, and most of our episodes that had lower numbers compared to some of the others all jumped up, and we're about even for the lower end of our listeners on each episode now.
Well, I guess somebody's listening to us, and they are liking and subscribing and sharing, so thank you.
Yeah, and if you haven't, follow me at Darkstar Shady on TikTok, Instagram, Twitter. Twitter's a lot of wrestling posting and resharing. Instagram's a little more personal. TikTok, I've been posting a lot of trading cards and doing a couple lives playing lately Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links on there, and people have been popping in. So feel free to come chat and watch that. And we will see you next week.